Hello beautiful souls. In this video I am going to be discussing my thoughts on substance use, misuse whilst doing spiritual work. And this has come up, excuse if you can hear the rain, the heavens are open, cleaning the land, which is wonderful. This has come up from a conversation that I had the other day, and something that I have felt very strongly about since coming back to England. And I want to unpack that. I want to unpack some of my reflections, some of my observations, and share that with you, just so that you can then see if it resonates, have a differing perspective. I can't tell anybody what to do. I don't have that right. We all have to make our own choices. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi and welcome to Outlaw Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I said, substance use, misuse, abuse. And I've been very fortunate in my life that it's never been part of my world apart from tobacco to be an issue. But I do know for a lot of people that it is, and I do know for a lot of people that maybe it's not an issue, but they enjoy a drink or they enjoy a smoke of whatever. And one of the things that we actually say, and it's interesting because all the retreats that I've ever gone on to, all the personal development and spiritual work that I've ever done, the places that I have been complete dry zones. And that has been drugs and alcohol. And that has been very comforting to me. In fact, I purposefully look for that information available on the site before I actually even consider going there. And if it's not available, then I contact them and I ask, because for me it's very important. Now, why is it so important? It's when you work with energy, which is what spirituality is, in whatever form, whatever you are called and drawn to, whether that be magic, whether that be energy healing modalities like Reiki or biomagnetics, or if you connect to spirit, you're a medium. When we're connecting, we are increasing our vibrations so that we can connect with the higher realms. That's where we get our information from. When we drink or when we get high with drugs, what we actually do is we also increase our aura, our energetic field. Now, when it is done superficially through alcohol, through drugs, we have the potential of breaching that aura. And if you follow me, or if you ever read any of the publications that I actually put out, you will know that our aura is our barrier. It is our protective layer to our energetic body, the same as skin is to our organs. If we didn't have a body of skin on our skeleton, then those organs would be and our aura is the same. If we break that aura, then our energies can be and they're all over the place, they're all over the shop, and we don't have, because of our altered state, our artificially altered state of consciousness, we don't have the same discernment. Now, that is not to say I'm a Puritan and I've never done anything in my life. I am pretty vanilla. But that said, you know, I've had a drink. I've enjoyed a drink. There have been times when I've had far too much to drink and I have not been in control of all my faculties. That is not a desired state. Luckily for me, even before I started my spiritual journey, my body started rejecting alcohol. It didn't like the way it felt the next day, and the older that I got, the worse that got. And so for me it was really easy to go, do you know what, I really don't like feeling like shit, so I'm not going to do this to myself anymore. But not everybody has that, and I get that. Not everybody has that. But if you are on the spiritual journey, if you are working with energies, then this is something you need to take into account, because when we have those breaches in our protective field, not only do our energies become completely imbalanced, but we've also created a hole that other energies, more malevolent energies, can enter. And if they do, it can take some considerable work and time to remove them. And very often they're very, very sneaky. You don't even know they're there, and they're acting out through you. And it's like those little cartoon memes that you see, or the old cartoons where you had the angel on one shoulder and the little devil on the other shoulder, and those energies that are in you is now that little devil. So not only are you having to cope with your own little devil, which is your ego, but you're having to cope with an outside energy that is also adding. So you've got like two little devils here and one little angel here, and so you've got this extra internal battle going on. The one thing that came up, which is why I'm making this video, is since I've been back in England, I'm not going to say there is a bigger problem with alcohol. The culture is more set up to going out and getting completely rat-assed of a weekend. It's that release from the stress and the tension. I wouldn't actually say, having lived in two countries, I wouldn't actually say that the UK has a bigger problem than Spain. There is a bigger problem of drunk and disorderly here, for sure. But that doesn't mean that the quantities of alcohol consumed is greater than. In Spain, my observation was people that were drinkers would drink continuously throughout the day, and it would be at a slower rate because they don't have the same laws in place that have closing hours and things, and when alcohol can be consumed, sold, bought. I don't think it's that. I think for me it was more a returning to the homeland, the motherland. When I came back, and if you go back a couple of years to some of my videos, I was really, although I was getting the messages to come back, I wasn't sure why I was getting the messages to come back, but when I did, it was like whoosh, it hit me very, very smack in the face. it hit me hard, the connection that I had to the land, the Celtic land, and that Celtic heritage. And I'm still digging into that. I'm still learning about myself when it comes to that. And the other interesting aspect that it was for me is, since being back, I have noticed that there are lots and lots of spiritually based activities that include alcohol, and I was very concerned about this. I had a deep gnawing on the inside of me. It's like, and yes, I fully understand that the alcohol very often isn't during these ceremonies, during these activities, but they are encouraged after these activities. And I had to sit there because I was thinking, am I just being a party pooper here? Or is there the reason? I thought, no, it's not about being a party pooper. There is something much bigger to this that for some considerable time I couldn't grab hold of until this past week, when it came up in conversation again. And then I kind of came home away from that conversation, and I did actually sit in my meditation room, and I did do some reflection on that. And what came up for me was very interesting, which is why I'm doing this video, which is why I'm sharing this video, because it's not just about that breach of our auric field and the potential dangers that go with that. It was about past. It was about what has occurred throughout the centuries. What came in first of all was how the Native Americans were sold alcohol. They were bartered. And so they would sell their beads, they would sell their skins, they would sell their craft work for alcohol, in exchange for alcohol, and they became hooked on that alcohol. And there's a big part of me, and I'm still looking for evidence, as it were, on the net, and I probably won't get it until I actually go over to the States and actually spend some time with a native tribe. But it feels correct to me that it was done intentionally. It was done with the knowing that because they were still in touch and still very authentic, they had that deep connection to the land, to the spirit world. To break that, to mash it up, as it were, they were intentionally given alcohol so that they could have those artificial heightened states where that second little demon could make its way in, where those negative energies could make their way in and start creating havoc amongst the tribes and their connection to the divine. And then I kind of brought that back to the UK, and I was taken back to the Dark Ages. And I know I've talked about this before, where I've been given images that there was a lot of frustration because of the bigotry between religion and old world knowledge, and the atrocities that occurred because of the persecutions of those that had old world knowledge. But I was also challenged with that, because those that work with light and those that work with energy and the energy of light and those light frequencies, those light vibrations, I was struggling with why they would so quickly and so easily move the goalposts, as it were, and downgrade is probably not the right phrase, but downgrade it, and participate in activities that they knew came from darkness. And it got to me to thinking the other day, was the same used? Were the same tactics used? And then I was taken, my mind was taken to Jinn and Mother's Ruin, and then I was fast forwarded to the last 5-10 years, where Jinn has made a massive research. When I was a kid, my grandmother was a gin drinker, and by golly, was she an evil bi when she used to be on the gin. I mean, everything that she had suppressed within her, and I know she came from a different time, and I am aware that, you know, females And I'm not going to get into the divine feminine, divine masculine, because I think we've had enough of that. But, you know, we do have to acknowledge that the divine masculine was very oppressed in lots of aspects, not in every aspect, in lots of aspects of old. And when she had a drink, by golly, did we all know it. Even as a child, we all kind of, you know, I knew to run, I knew to get out of the way. And it was interesting that when I was sat there doing that retrospection, that I was fast forwarded to now, and I was reminded of gin, and I was reminded of the popularity and how that has been brought back. And then I was shown the exponential rise in mental health issues, the unrest within society. And I couldn't help but think and give it connections. And I don't know whether I'm doing it justice by giving it those connections. I'm not a scholar. Somebody else, will have to do deep and thorough research on that. But I personally believe there are connections between it, between these cycles that we can see throughout history. Which takes us back to where I started, and the use of alcohol during times of spiritual ceremonies. And why I really feel that it shouldn't be part of that. I'm not saying never have a drink. If you're a practicing spiritualist, if you're practicing energy work, if you're practicing magic, then I implore each and every one of you, please do not do so under the influence of any type of mind-altering substance, be that alcohol, be that drug use. If you're going to a ceremony, please remember, and I think this was the thing that really came in, this is what my guides, I don't think it is what my guides came in very strongly and said, that even when that ceremony is finished, even when that celebration, because it may not be a ritual or ceremony in any, it could just be a celebration, it could just be a really happy time where the vibrations rise, where you have those higher levels and higher concentrations of high vibrating energy that gives us that connection to the cosmos. That doesn't go away just because the ceremony is finished. You're still in that heightened state. And if you drink alcohol or you take substances, it is very easy to go so high that you breach, you create a tear in that aura. It's not about being a party pooper. It's about taking responsibility for your health and well-being on a mental, physical, and spiritual level. So I hope that's helped. If you've liked the video, press that like button. If you've not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and you will be notified of when a new video goes live. If you feel a friend would benefit from this, then by all means, please share it. Until next time, sweet souls, take care. Bye-bye.